Hiya, this is a video tutorial to help you get started with the piece called He's a Pirate. It's from the film Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl, and the music's by Badelt, Jeffrey Zanelli and Hans Zimmer. I'm taking this arrangement from this book, First 50 Movie Themes for Easy Piano, and we're on page 72. Before I start, I'm just folding back the bottom right hand corner of each of the pages because the page turns are quite quick and a bit awkward. So I'm going to be playing this through for you first, and so if there are any pauses, you'll know why, because of the page turns. Right then, so I'm going to, as I say, I'm going to play this for you now, hands together, and then I'll break it down, hands separately and into small sections. If you can try and follow the music along as best you can while I'm playing, that would be great. The other thing I'm going to do is just press the pages down, because otherwise they have a tendency of flying open when you least want them to. Okay, here we go. Okay, there we go. Quite a fast piece, as you noticed. Apologies for any mistakes there. But let's take it hands separately now, and of course we'll do it a lot slower. So, the right hand first. So the right hand starts on the D below middle C. So for the purposes of this video, that's my middle C. So I'm going to be starting on the D there. And the rhythm for the first two bars is repeated. So I'll just do that for you. So it's index finger on the D there. Sorry, I'll start that again. I made a mistake. Okay, so that's the rhythm for the first two bars. It's then repeated, so bars 3 and 4 are the same. And then going on to bar 5, it's the same as bar 1. And then what we're going to be doing is 3 more Ds, with the third one being with the thumb. And the reason is that it helps you then approach the next two notes, A and C. Excuse me. On to the last line then. So we've got two chords, F and D. Then you need to do a finger position change. Thumb goes to the D, then an E, then 2 more chords, D and F. Now if you put your fourth finger on the next note, which is an F, and then you've got a G, 2 more chords, C and E. Then if you change again to a D with your fourth finger, then a C, then onto the next page, top of page 73, we've got C first, and then the chord of D and F again, just like we did at the bottom of page 72. Okay, then it carries on with A and C, and then that same chord again, D and F twice, swap to your third finger on the D, and then play an E, and then we've got F and A twice. Then I would put a fourth finger on this next note, this F, and then a G, and then you've got a chord which is on the second line now, G and E. Then you've got D and C, and then that original chord of D and F. A and C coming up, two of the same chord, D and F, then D and F again, single notes. Next chord, so this is on to line 3 now, B flat and G twice. Swap to your index finger on this G where your little finger was, and then play the A, then the chord, two of them, B flat and D. Fourth finger goes to the A and G, then a chord of D and A, then right thumb goes to the D. Okay, keep your hand here for the moment. D and E next, chord of D and F twice. Then we've got another chord, B flat and G, and then F and A, then a D on its own. Then if you swap to your third finger onto the D, then play it, and then we've got an F. The chord here, C sharp and E twice. The last two notes of page 73, F and D, and then we turn the page. And then that same chord as we've just had, C sharp and E. Okay, so then we're going to jump up a little bit now for the bit in the higher register. So A and C, index finger on the A, chord of F and D. Swap your little finger on the D for your index finger, and then that enables you to go up a little bit that way. D and E, F and D now, chord twice, F and G, C and E now twice, then D and C, and put your fourth finger on that D, and then C, another C on its own, and then you've got a chord of F and D. Next two notes are A and C, chord of F and D twice, D and E on its own, again I would swap probably to your index finger on this D, chord of F and A twice, then F and G, chord of E and G, D and C on their own, and then a chord of F and D. A and C coming up, chord of F and D again. D and F, B flat and G twice, G and A, and then chord of D and F, D and B flat, sorry, then A and G, chord of D and A, then a D on its own. Swap to your index finger on that D, and then you've got your E with the third finger, chord of F and D twice, B flat and G chord, F and A chord, then a D with the thumb. Swap to your third finger on that D, then an F with the little finger, chord now. So by the way, we're on page 75 now, line 2, C sharp and E chord twice, D and C sharp, chord of F and D twice. Shift everything up one to the right for the next chord, G and E. Shift everything up one to the right again for the next chord, A and F. And again, two more times. Shift everything up one again to the right, but making sure B flat is with the thumb, so B flat and G. Now you've got A with a little finger, then F, D, A. Shift everything up, sort of 3, if you like, to the right, so you've got D and B flat up here. Then F, D, B flat. Jumping back down, D next to middle C, D, A, and then a chord of those two notes, and then C sharp and A as a chord. Jump back up to this higher register. You want C sharp and G twice, turning the page. Okay, so we've got this following chord 3 times, F and A, and then switch the fingers so that it's 1 and 3. And then you've got B flat and G. This is the top of 76 now. Back to the original chord, F and A. Then we've got 4 of these next chords, E and G. And then F and A. 3 more of these, F and A. F and B flat, F and A. Third line now, so D and G, D and F, C sharp and E, F and D. Bit lower, so D, E, F and A. So this is a chord of F and A. G, A, B flat and G chord, chord of F and A, E on its own, chord of F and A, chord of C and G, chord of C and A, chord of E and G, F and G on their own. Top of page 77 now. C and A as a chord. Then you've got G, F, E, F on its own, E, and now you've got this chord F and D twice, and then E and C, and then again F and D again. Jump up an octave, so you've got your index finger on the D, play the E on its own as well, then F and A as a chord, then E, F, and then E and G as a chord, F on its own, E and G again. These next 4 chords are, well, they're all chords, F and A, then E and G, D and F, B flat and D. D and E on their own, chord of F and D, F and D and G, D and A. G and B flat, then D on its own, chord of B flat and G, D and F, G and E, chord of D and F, D and A, then E on its own, last chord of the page, G and C sharp. We're almost there, 2 more pages to go. Top of page 78 now, F and A as a chord, D and B flat as a chord. Okay, then you've got this chord, F and A 4 times, then G and E as a chord. These are all chords coming up now, B flat and G, A and F, C sharp and E, D and F, C sharp and E, G and E, F and D. Okay, so we've got now 3 notes on their own, D, E, F, F and A, D, E, F on their own again, chord of D and B flat, 3 notes on their own, D, E, F. These are all chords now to the end, so F and A twice, A and C, F and A, this is top of page 79 now, so F and A, E and G, B flat and G, D and F, C sharp and E, D and F, C sharp and E, and then F and A. Whew, and then you can have a little rest with the right hand for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bars, and then the very final bar, you've got a long held chord of A and D. Okay, so phew, that was quite a mammoth task, wasn't it? Take your time with that, obviously, you know, pause and rewind and everything as you need to. But I'm going to show you the left hand now. The left hand is much more straightforward. I'm just skim reading through it now. All the left hand is singular notes. There are no chords in the left hand. So let's go back to page 72 where the left hand starts. So it's going to start on a low D. So that's the second D below middle C. And you're going to play it with the little finger. 6 beats. And then at the bottom of the page, you're going to play 2 more. Then with your thumb, you're going to play 2 B flats. Then you've got 2 A's. The first one is with your index finger and the second one with your thumb. Okay. Top of page 73, 2 D's again. Then 2 B flats. And then 2 F's. The first one can be with your third finger. The second can be with your second finger, because that's going to help you reach the next note. So second line of page 73, you've got 2 C's with your little finger. And then we have 5 D's coming up. So you don't have to move your hand position at the moment. Okay, then on to the third line, B flat with your thumb twice. Then G twice with your index finger. Then you can probably use your little finger, I think, for the next 2 notes, the 2 D's. And then you've got B flat again. This is the bottom of page 73 now. B flat twice with your thumb. Then D twice with your little finger. Then A twice with your thumb. Turn the page. This is top of page 74 now. 4 A's. Now 2 D's. 2 B flats. 2 A's. 2 D's, 2 B flats, 2 F's, 2 C's, 5 Ds, 2 B flats, 2 Gs, 2 Ds, 2 B flats, 2 Ds, 3 As. Now the third A, it's asking us to put your third finger on it so that we can reach this D up here. 2 Ds now, 1 C sharp, 3 C naturals, B flat, chord, yes, I did say there weren't any chords, there is one, here we go, sorry about that, A and F. Then we have 5 A's now on their own, little finger. And then we've got 5, just counting them, sorry, 6 G's. Just shift down 1, maybe your 4th finger for this one. And then we have 6 A's now. Okay, top of page 76, jumping down to a D, asking us for our 4th finger there. And there are 7 of these D's. Then we've got 4 C's. D. And then I'm just counting the D's now, quite a few, 3, 6, 9, 10 D's now. Up to a B flat, this is now the 3rd line on page 76, B flat, G, A, 2 low D's, 2 high D's with your thumb. Okay, bottom line now, so G, C, C, F. 2 more F's, 3 C's, 2 F's. This is the top of page 77 now. 3 A's, counting the D's coming up, 2, 3, 6, 8 D's. 2 C's, 2 F's, A, 3 B flats, 2 D's, 2 G's, 4 A's, turning the page, and we're on to the top of page 78 now, so 4 D's, 4 G's, C, F, A, 4 C's, 4 G's, with the 4th one, put your index finger on it so that you can reach the A's, of which there are 7 coming up. Okay, now we've got lots of D's again, so we have, just counting them, 4, 6 D's, 2 B flats, F, A, D, 4 C's, 4 G's, 7 A's. Okay, now we're on to the last little bit where it's all D's, so I'm just going to count them for you. So 4, so let's count them in threes, 3, 6, 9, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 36, 39, 40, 41 D's. Okay, so see if you can follow them along. Go. It's quite a long piece, isn't it? Okay, as always, take it at your pace. You can adjust the playback speed of the video, of course, and like I said earlier, use the rewind, the fast forward, the pause functions as well. Let me know how you get on. Take care. All the best. See you. Bye.